welcome, welcome. Welcome to In the Loop Lupus Live. Let me make sure that we're on everywhere that we're supposed to be on today. So we want to make sure that you're seeing us on Instagram as well as on YouTube. And hopefully everyone can hear me. But welcome, welcome, welcome to In the Loop Lupus Live with Lupus in Color. And we are going to speak to another great lupus warrior and hear her story and share her story with you to inspire you and to see how she overcomes so many different things um, in spite of lupus. So I don't want to belabor that any longer. I want to bring her up. Her name is Erica Sims, and I want to bring her up so you can hear her story and we can start this Friday evening in some good information. Hey,
Hey,
Erica.
hey, hello.
How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am doing well. I'm so excited to talk to you. I'm so happy that you decided to come on and share your story. I know sometimes that can be kind of scary and kind of, nervous, but I know your story is going to touch someone. So I want to thank you for actually, really participating in Lupus Awareness Month and sharing your story. So why don't you start by telling us who you are and tell us a little bit about your lupus story, how you got lupus and what age we were and things of that nature.
Okay. I'm Erica. I am a mom, and I also am involved very heavily with my church. I got lupus. I was diagnosed in October of 2014, but before then, they had no idea what was going on. It didn't take me the like 10 years or 5 years. It's like I got pneumonia, went to the hospital. Then they started like they gave me all kinds of diagnosis until there was a doctor that saw my face because I had the monarch and I had it. It looked like a chemical burn. I
Mm,
lost my eyebrows. So sad. I lost my eyebrows, my eyelashes. I had like a wind burn across my mouth and nose. It was very bad. And I remember when I got diagnosed, before then, I had a rash that started actually, it started on my legs. It
mm,
started on my upper part of my thighs. And I was going back and forth to the emergency room because it just came out of nowhere. And when I was, before I got sick, I was a master cosmetologist and I was working in the shop. So the first thing they thought is that I had gotten stabbed from
right.
some hair or some kind of infection. So they did all the blood work, they did all that. Nothing was coming back. I was living in a small town in Georgia,
Mhm.
and that small town wasn't equipped to handle the lupus. So the doctor that recognized that something was going on with my immune system and my levels, he
Mhm.
actually ended up sending me in an ambulance to a town that was 45 minutes north of where
Okay.
I lived. Where the town that I went to the next hospital, they had a rheumatologist that did rounds at the hospital. And as soon as he saw the labs and he saw my face, he was like, "You have lupus."
Oh
He said,
wow.
I'm willing to bet that you have lupus." And then they ran some more tests. I was there for in the hospital this first initial time. I was there for a week,
Hmm.
and they were able to determine that I had lupus. But they couldn't figure out if I had just discoid or if I had SLE.
Right.
So I had the rash on my legs already, and then I had the rash on my face, and that's when with having the rash in two different places, that's when they assumed that it was discoid, but it wasn't. I had SLE.
Mm. How did they figure? How did they figure it out? Did it attack an organ, or was something else going on?
Well, when they what they don't figure it out quicker or know that it was SLE is because it was attacking my lungs. I
Okay.
had bilateral pneumonia,
Mm.
and at the bottom of my lungs, the bottom of my lungs never opened back up. You know, your lungs are supposed to go like this. Mine just at the bottom is pinched a little bit from scar
Oh
tissue,
wow.
and they saw that, And when they saw it on the X-ray, they thought that I had sarcoid.
Right.
I don't have that. But my lungs were giving off that scar tissue honeycomb feel, so that's what they thought I had.
Wow. So when they saw that, what did they try to treat you with at first? When they saw the lungs weren't opening and said, "Okay, it's SLE, let's go." How did they start to treat you?
IV steroids.
Mm,
That's always the first go.
yep.
They're gonna do IV steroids.
Wow. And did that help at all?
That helped with the my breathing, but they had already done they were giving me albuterol every 4 hours to start off with, and then they moved it up to every 6 hours. So I was getting that around the clock in the hospital with the different antibiotics and steroids.
Wow. Wow. So you were feeling like superhuman at one point with all
Yes.
those steroids in you, right?
Hmm.
Wow. That's crazy. And it's crazy because you kind of got diagnosed kind of quickly because you said it
Yes.
happened so quickly, right?
Hmm.
Now, how old were you when you were diagnosed?
I was diagnosed when I was 28.
Okay. Okay. So that you were pretty much in your career and doing everything that you thought an adult would be doing.
Yes.
And then bam, it hits you in the face.
Hmm.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, do you have other comorbidities with lupus?
Yes, ma'am. I went from just taking like a Tylenol from, standing up all day. I needed Tylenol for my back or my hands
Hmm.
to taking like all these pills. I have lupus under the lupus umbrella. I have lupus, I have COPD, I have asthma, I have RA,
Okay.
I have surgeons, I have Raynaud's, I have neuropathy.
Mm,
What else did I say that
you
I
got the
have?
bonus stuff, huh? You got all the bonus things. Good grief.
On the bingo card, I definitely
Yep.
did. And they were saying that I had swan neck deformity with my hands because this is how my hands look now.
Okay. Okay.
But I had X-rays and ultrasound done, and she found out that the damage in my hand is not permanent. So this could just be lupus acting like lupus and attacking. So this could go away, and
Right.
I hope it does because this is they started turning. It's that part was very painful.
Right.
Like they're not straight anymore. So that's why they thought it was swan neck,
Right.
but
It's
I'm thankful
funny.
it's not.
It's interesting. I don't want to say it's funny, but it's interesting that you're showing your hands that way because we were just at a lupus brunch where we had a doctor from our local area here talk about lupus arthritis and how the hands do curve in that way, but can be straightened with the right treatment.
Mhm.
So I'm interested to know what he didn't go into like what the treatment would be for it, but I just think that it's interesting that they thought it was something else, but in fact, it is something like lupus arthritis, where it's not
Mhm.
damaging the tissues, but it is deforming the hands a little bit.
Yes. And like when I do anything, because my hands, like I can't make a fist. This
Okay.
pinky, I can't. I don't really. I mean, I can control it a little bit like
Hmm.
that, but I can't curve it.
Right.
And I they saw that I had carpal tunnel. I don't. It's just that from my career and just everything is important. Your hands are important,
Sure.
and it's very like the neuropathy came first. The turning of the hands. This is like in the last 4 years. This wasn't one of the initial things that I had.
Wow. So over time, it actually happened.
Hmm.
Now, when you first got diagnosed, were you still doing cosmetology, or you had stopped automatically once you were diagnosed?
Now I didn't want to stop when I first got diagnosed. I had the I was on the oxygen, but they wouldn't let me do hair with oxygen. So I would be out there cutting hair,
Mm.
and this is like I know this is so crazy. But I would be cutting hair and cut hair. And I worked for a company where we had to cut at a certain speed. We're trained to cut at a certain speed. So
Hmm.
I'm whipping through these haircuts, and after every haircut, I just go in the back and I'm taking a hit off the oxygen because
Hmm.
I'm struggling out here,
Yeah.
and I was getting to where I wasn't getting enough oxygen, and
Right.
I was moving around, moving really, trying to get the stuff done so that I
Hmm.
could go back and get more oxygen. And the lady, well, my manager, she was like, Erica, you just can't keep doing this. It's not good for you, and it's not. They were trying to say it was like some kind of health violation. But
Yeah.
if I would have known now, or known then what I know now, I could have worked with the oxygen because they can't not let me work because of a disability that I didn't
Right,
cause.
right, right. That whole Disability Act, and they're
Yeah.
making reasonable accommodations for the worker. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely, absolutely. So it's just crazy how much stuff you've been through,
And
and
it happened so fast.
right, and
Everything has happened just like boom.
right, just and back to back to back to back to back.
Yes.
So now, do you remember? They say hindsight is 2020. Do you remember early on having some issues where you can see where maybe lupus started to attack your lungs and things of that nature?
Yes. I I grew up in the 90s, and I was born in 85, but I grew up in the 90s, and just looking back at things that happened to me growing up, I more than likely had lupus a long time before it really manifested itself. It's
Mm,
that like the way it came. I had Bell palsy when I was in
mm,
high school, and I had it for like I want to say a month. It might have been longer than that, but the this side of my face was the side that was numb, but it was all drawn to this side,
right.
and I realized like those are symptoms.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people have said that they've had Bell's palsy when they were younger, and then they come
Mhm.
up with lupus, which is really quite interesting to me. You know, I didn't have Bell's palsy or anything like that, but I had all the childhood diseases, the whooping cough and all stuff like that. But you're like the 20th person I've heard that said that they've had Bell's palsy.
Yeah,
So
I just
once
had
you
it in
got,
my face.
so now once you got the Bell's palsy under control, did they just say, "Oh, it's just going to go away," and then 20 years later, here you go with lupus?
Yeah, when I got the Bell palsy, it scared my mom. It
Mm,
scared her because I woke up and it looked like I had a stroke. That's what she thought I had a stroke in my sleep.
wow,
Yeah.
wow, that had to be scary. So they treated you for the Bell's palsy, and then you go on and live your life.
hmm
And then how many years later were you diagnosed?
Let's see. I want to say that I had Bell palsy like when I was like 17.
Hmm. Wow.
Yeah, 16 or 17. So I didn't like, some people have Bell's palsy when they're younger, then they get pregnant and then they have Bell palsy again. I did not. I had Bell palsy that one time. I had my son at 21.
Mm-hmm.
At 28, I thought I was doing big stuff. I got sick in the summer
Mm-hmm.
with pneumonia, and I
And that
pushed
was all
all the
she
way
wrote.
through. That was
Mm.
it.
And then so have you been on the oxygen since you were diagnosed?
No,
Okay, it was came a
I
little
take
later.
myself. I take myself off of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I start feeling good inside my body, I
Yeah, I
start
get it.
feeling like I'm healed. I take this oxygen off.
And then your breath is like, wait a minute now.
Yes, definitely.
I think that's something that we all do when we feel good. I don't want to take that medicine. I'm not taking all that. I'm not doing all this extra stuff. Not realizing that maybe it's the medicine that's keeping us feeling good.
Yes,
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm very guilty of that. And moving, like I'm originally from Indiana. That's where I live currently, but I've lived like in Florida. I lived in Georgia, and every time like I start feeling good, I was able to do more. And the air quality there and here is different. And I was
Mm,
down to the coast where you can go to the beach. It was just a totally different experience. And my aunt, she was talking to me the other day. She was like, because I was telling her how good I was feeling. And she was like, don't move. I was like, no, 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 I'm not moving. I know now. Not
oh, you're frozen. No.
so no, and like where I'm at now, as far as like the health thing,
Right.
I know that like my team, that's what I call them. I was laughing. I said, my team, I have a really good PCP.
Mm,
I'm heard. She's not just giving me medicine or not
mm.
giving me medicine or trying to push me along.
She's
She calls
listening.
me after, yeah, she
Mm,
called me after hours and talked to me about anything. I have a very good rheumatologist.
mm, mm. Good.
And the whole time that I've had this, I've never had x-rays on my hands or my arms. And that was one of her first things that she made sure that I had. She wanted to make sure that I had x-rays and have the ultrasound on my hand. In fact, I had the ultrasound and mammogram in the same day, and I told her that the what they did to my hands
Mm-hmm.
hurt way more than the
The
mammogram. The
mammogram.
mammogram didn't bother me.
Yeah. Yeah. The mammogram is the easy part, but the way that they have to do the sonogram for your hand and stuff like that, that hurts.
It hurts very much.
Yeah. It could, I know the feeling. I have rheumatoid arthritis, so I get it. I get it. That's painful. It's a lot of stuff that you have to go through just to find out to make sure that there's no scarring and messed up,
Yes.
tissues and everything like that. So I understand that. So how what type of support system do you have? I know you were talking about your aunt and you have some family. How does your support system support you?
Okay, my support system. This is it goes like this. My aunt, my mom passed away,
Hmm.
so my aunt looks like my aunt mom. She's there. She steps in. And then my son, he's 18,
Oh, okay.
and he is like that's my ride or die. If there's something that I got going on, if I don't feel right, I'll be like, hey, such and such. He's got to the point that if I say, hey, I don't feel well, he'll start packing me a bag because he knows that when
Yeah.
I go to the ER, I'm gonna be there. So he
Yeah.
packs my stuff for me. So my aunt, my really, really good friends, like my tribe,
Hmm.
is my friend Bobby, Samantha, and Connie, and then it's my church and then my friends. But my pastor, I was just in the hospital 2 weeks ago. Like you can see all the bruises and the
Hmm. Yeah.
needle
Yeah.
points. I called my pastor and I was like, I know the guy's taking care of me each and every time I've been in that hospital. But when those people come in there and they rush me and they're telling me this and they want to do this, I had to take a moment. I called my aunt. She's in North Carolina. She can't get to me. She's telling me, don't be calm. And then I called my pastor. And I was just sitting in there and I was in there by myself and I was praying and I was watching your videos and
Oh,
I was
thank you.
praying. And then my pastor comes strolling up in there.
Oh,
I
look at
said,
that.
thank you, Jesus.
Yeah.
Because she is gonna ride. I tell her my heart rate, my resting heart rate was 165.
Wow.
They couldn't get it to go down. And they kept asking me if I was in pain. I wasn't. My heart races quite a bit, but
Hmm.
I thought it was normal because
Right.
it does it all the time. Well, that's not normal. So they took me to the ER from the oncologist. They gave me a medicine that I've noticed now that they don't try to start you out with something small to see if it'll help you. They come right at you with
Yeah.
the big
Yeah.
gun.
Fully. Yeah.
They put the defibrillator on me, and it's the one that is like cordless. Where they weren't doing this. They just had me all strapped up. They gave me this medication that it lowers your heart rate, but it lowers it so fast
Mm.
that it makes it feel like you have weight on your chest.
Mm.
And when they did it, I had to keep breathing through that medicine, and I was scared. And then when they put the defibrillator on me, that really kick-started my heart racing because I was like, please don't shock me.
Yeah, yeah.
Please don't shock me. And thank the Lord they didn't have to shock me. But my pastor sat there with me. She got off her job. Then she gets up and goes at 4 in the morning.
Mm,
She came to that hospital and stayed with me as they took me to the next floor, and they have to do all the sanitizer stuff to you. She waited and then came in there with me and sat with me for like another 2 hours.
that's
She didn't
amazing.
get home until about 10, but she wanted to make sure that I was okay because they put me in another town,
Yeah,
and she's just like that's my battle buddy at church. That's who I got paired up with, and she looks out for me. She prays for me
well,
and does all the things. Like if my aunt lived close or if I was right there with them, she'd be there.
yeah, yeah. I'm glad that you have that support, especially from a pastor, because it's that prayer makes a difference. I believe in prayer.
It does.
Prayer and that support from your pastor really makes a difference, and I'm so glad that you have that support in your life because it really, really helps a lot. So now,
Yeah.
what else what else are you battling that you're getting help with? I know you said you have the Sjogren's and the Raynaud's.
Mhm.
Now, does that affect your hands as much as the lupus arthritis is affecting it?
I'm gonna say no, but it's also if I get cold,
You can forget it.
I can't warm back up. That's it.
Mm,
I'm under blankets and stuff. But if I get too hot, then that causes another set of problems. But like with I get services because I'm totally disabled. I can't do it hair anymore. The services I get, like I have a caregiver. A
hmm.
caregiver comes in and helps me do the things. But I'm one of those people that I'll try my best to clean up really good before my caregiver gets here because I don't want nobody to say that I'm a mess. It might make me tired, but you're not gonna come in my house and tell me I'm a mess.
Right. I'm gonna clean
So
before you come to clean. I'm
yes,
gonna do everything right before you come.
yes.
I love
No,
it because I'm the same way.
I think my mom was too. My mom was the same way. I used to think, "Oh my gosh, mom, this is crazy," and then I'm this is crazy junior because
Right,
I'm
right.
the same way.
It's like, oh, now I understand. I get it.
Yeah, I
I get
totally get it.
exactly.
Oh, and I have this,
Okay.
and like at first when I first got this, I was like, "I'm not wearing this. This is a joke." Blah blah blah. All the things that have been provided for me as a resource, I had to get out of myself and start using these things because this is a safety precaution. I have a electric wheelchair. I can walk. I am not very like balanced sometimes, and this is my independence. Like I use my chair to go to the grocery store by myself. I go to CVS. Like when they gave me this chair, it gave me like I don't have to wait on somebody to come. I don't have to ask anybody. I
Yeah.
can take myself to church. So I live within 5 minutes from my church, and we have events down there. I take myself there, take myself home. It just made me feel so much better
Yeah.
having these resources. And some people see me, and I'm sure that they have something to say or they make fun, but these things were provided to me for a
For a
reason
reason.
because I need them.
Absolutely. And I love how you said that you had to get out of your own head as to what's going on with your body and everything like that. And you had to open your heart pretty much to the help that was sitting right there that God put in front of you anyway.
Hmm.
And it gave you that sense of independence. Yeah, because
That is like the best thing that was because before I got that, I spend a lot of time by myself anyways, just because you can't be around people because people be sick. People
right.
sometimes people ain't clean like you, and there's a lot of things. So I just was by myself, and it was hard for me to move around because packing the oxygen and trying to have my
Mm,
balance. So when I got this, I was able to like coupon, or when I go to the store, like the smaller stores, I go in there so much just to get out and to, you know, feel like I'm contributing to society and feel normal. The workers start to know me and look out for me and talk to me, so that isolation that I was feeling and
yeah.
the depression that I was feeling
Hmm.
has changed. Like how I am today versus how I am when I first got diagnosed,
Mm,
it's totally different person. When I first got diagnosed, it was doom and gloom. Like I made a TikTok about how people, I know they used to hate to see me coming because I didn't have anything positive to say because
yeah.
I felt like I was being punished. I felt like my life had just ended. And that's not it. I always have to say, I have lupus, lupus doesn't have me. And
Right.
I really believe that now because all the things that God brought me through.
Mm,
I've had emergency heart surgery,
mm.
and there was nothing leading up to that. It was boom, you got to have emergency heart surgery,
Wow.
or we got to go in and do this, we got to do that. God's always taking care of me.
Mm,
There's not been a time where He's let me be by myself, even when I've been at the lowest of the depression. God's never left me. So that's how I've been able to stay so positive and be on this journey because it's not easy. And you know it's not easy.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
every day I show up for myself. It might be a dumpster fire, but I'm showing up.
That part for yourself. You're not waiting for somebody to show up for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love that whole attitude of, I'm not, I see where I came from and I can appreciate where I am today. You're still very independent, even though you have issues going on, and you make sure that you are doing something to feel better. That movement, is helping you.
Yes. I'm just thankful that I'm not that person that I was. It was bad. It was very bad.
Yeah.
Like Google, my aunt makes fun. She says, don't Google. I'm telling you, Google will kill you. You got a symptom, you read Google,
Yeah,
you
you
die
could
three
die.
times.
Mm-hmm. You ain't lying.
Yeah.
You can oversaturate yourself in a hot minute with Google and think that you're on death's bed,
Yes,
and it messes with your mental health.
it really does.
So you said that you did have some depression. Do you go to a counselor or do you go to your pastor when you're feeling that way now? Do you ever get that way?
Yeah, I have bad days, but nothing like before. And when I first got diagnosed, I was going to a counselor. I was going to see a therapist every week. I was going,
Mhm.
and they gave me medicine that's supposed to. This is where it gets kind of crazy. They're trying to treat the joint pain with medicine for psych meds.
Right,
The psych meds, like one of the diagnoses is situational depression.
right,
When they told me that, I kind of like thought to myself, my situation is going to be what it's going to be
right.
with this lupus. I could be fine for 3 days
Mm-hmm.
and wake up on the fourth day and feel like I've been in a pickle shop.
Yeah,
And if I don't pray and I don't make sure that I do the things that are beneficial to my mental health,
right.
then it's not going to work. I'm taking Symbicort because they say it helps with the joints.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I still hurt. So I
Yeah,
don't even think it's working
yeah,
because
yeah.
my situation didn't change and
Right.
I still hurt. So, like, when I go in there to the doctors, I want to know which one of these medicines we can stop taking.
Yeah,
Which one of these can we come off of?
yeah, yeah. I guess, and that's important. That's important because everybody wants to come off the medication, right?
Yeah.
It's like I don't want to be on this stuff for the rest of my life. Unfortunately, some of us probably will. You know what I mean? But I think sometimes we we neglect to see that it has something has worked because we are looking for the bigger pain relief. Does that make sense?
It does.
You know what I'm saying? Even though it didn't work to the point where we think that it should work. I know when I first got on Benlista, it was like, yeah, I'm still having flares. I had to change my mindset about that. And I had to realize how those flares were a little less painful than they
Hmm.
used to be. So sometimes we thinking that something is not working, and it's working. It's just not working as fast as we want it.
Yeah.
So that I can definitely really relate to that. Absolutely, absolutely. So I don't want to keep you too long on this Friday evening, but I do want to ask you a couple of questions about how what you would say to someone who is newly diagnosed to empower them to change their mindset as to how they're dealing with lupus.
The first thing I would tell them is this is not a death sentence.
Right.
And then I would say to them, there's going to be days where you're going to feel amazing. But then there's going to be days that you mourn the person that you used to be.
Mm,
And those days are okay to have,
right.
but you can't get sucked up into that.
Right.
When you get sucked into mourning the person that you were, you're not able to see the blessings that are in front of you.
Mm,
There were so many things that I was missing out on because I was like, well, I can't work. I don't work. I don't drive. Um, I'm not contributing to society, but we never went hungry. We never were naked. We never went without anything that we needed. My son's health never declined. I had to start being thankful for it lived in the time. I
mm,
couldn't keep trying to live where I was
right.
and holding my hands like this about whatever happened in my past. I wasn't able to have my hands open for the blessings that God was giving me. And once that happened for me, things got
Mm,
a little less chaotic in my life.
wow. That's amazing. I love how you said if you're holding your hands closed, you can't possibly gain the blessings because you're not open to it.
Yeah.
And that's a great way to even look at it. You know, how do you suggest that people get to that point? Is it something that your faith has done for you, or is it something that you do every single day that help you, like journaling or something like that? How do you tell people to get to that point?
It's my faith and being transparent. I
Mm,
don't try to get on here and talk to people and tell people that, it's wonderful because it's not. It's not wonderful. Some days I just want to just throw my hands up.
right.
But I show up and I tell them like, hey, like I have quite a bit of friends that I've gained through having lupus that I've met,
Hmm.
and like when we talk, you don't have to put them with me, girl. I know that you're hurting. I can see the way your body is. I
Yeah.
can see that your shoulders are like this. I know because I do the same thing.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I also how I've been my relationship with God. At first, like I grew up in the church, so I wasn't foreign to God, but knowing him then was I knew of God. Now I know God. Like I know him. I can tell you without God, I'm nothing. I can tell you that I didn't have money to pay for medication, and God made it where I don't pay for medication. God provided this electric wheelchair. I didn't pay for this. Insurance paid for it. I didn't run through no kind of hiccups. God did all this stuff for me.
Mm, mm. I'm telling you, your tests have become your true testimony.
Yeah.
Every single day, He's provided for you.
Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love it. I love it. I mean, that's so inspirational. Because I think that sometimes we lose faith when we're in pain.
Yeah.
You know, and it's hard to get it back, especially when you're going through those tests.
Yes.
But how amazing is it that you can sit here today and still smile with your beautiful spirit and talk about how your test has become your testimony, not just for you. There's somebody that's going to listen to this maybe 2 days later and is going to say, you know what, I really relate to Erica, and she has my story, and I'm so inspired by her. So I want to thank you for sharing that part.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. What would you say? What three? I'm going to say this. I'm going to ask this question. What would you tell yourself, your pre-diagnosed self, something that you know now, to warn yourself today? That's a
I would tell
that's a
myself,
whole loaded question, girl. But
I would tell myself then, you are going to have to live your life for you. It
mm,
doesn't matter how other people view you. This is your life. So
right,
do the things that make you happy. I would also say the small things are important. The things that you take for granted, jumping up out of bed before you have to be somewhere in 20 minutes, taking a shower, getting
right,
dressed, and getting in the car. No, those things are important.
mm,
Being able to button your clothes, or if you got to go to the restroom and you need to go right now, you can just jump up and run in there.
mm,
Those are the little things
mm,
that I took for granted when I was a healthy person.
mm,
And now that I have lupus, everything is a calculated move when it
mm,
comes to living my life. I
mm,
cannot just jump up and go anywhere because the anxiety is not going to let me move, and it's just going to cause a lot of problems.
right,
And also, I would tell my previous self that not to hold on to grudges, don't hold on to anything, because you holding a grudge against someone that's over there parlaying and living their life is
right,
like you swallowing poison and expecting them to drop dead.
right.
This is not going to work. So I would just be, I felt like I was kind of a free spirit, but I did care a lot about how I was viewed by people.
Mm,
And now I don't care. Like the lady that has the We Don't Care Club,
mm-hmm,
I am a member of that because I don't care. Like whatever feels good to Erica's soul, that's what I do. That's how I want to feel. And I wish that I would have done it before I turned 40 or 35. I now that I know better, I do better.
say it again for the people in the back.
That's what it is.
Because that's the truest statement ever. When you know better, you absolutely do better. Absolutely. Kimberly says every step is a calculated move.
Hmm.
Every step is a and that's true. I think that sometimes, even though it's a calculated move, sometimes we still get into a rut of even doing stuff as we're
Hmm.
dealing with lupus and our other comorbidities. So we definitely have to be conscious and mindful of how we're even living in our disabilities.
Yes, because what you do today can definitely put you down for 2 or 3 days
Mm.
because you felt really good on Friday. You want to go hang out, you want to have brunch, you want to do this, you want to do that. I can't do all that. This is what I tell myself, girl, you going to church on Sunday. So unless you're sick, because we have it where I can watch it online, I cannot go out and hang out with you on Friday and then go somewhere with you on Saturday and
And go to
expect to
church
live
on
my
Sunday.
life.
Right.
Yeah, I can't do it. And I prefer if I could do something with you on Friday before 2 o'clock, so I can be back home rubbing my ankles together. That's
I love it. That was such a visual thing for me right now.
how I feel.
I love it. I'm with you. I am with you because once that bra comes off, I'm done.
That's it. That's no more. I'm not putting it back on. No,
He
ma'am.
said, rubbing them ankles together. Yes, Lord. I know
That's
that.
my favorite part of the day. When I have done all my stuff, showered, and then I'm on my phone, just scrolling, looking at stuff, laughing. That, and I'm going to bed. That's it. No more.
I'm good. That's a good night. I feel you.
Yes.
I feel I'm gonna do that tonight. As a matter of fact,
I'll be doing it too. Just know.
we could be ankle rubbers together.
Yes.
I got you. I got you. Kimberly says, release the grudges. You got me in here crying. That's hilarious. Release the grudges, release the stress. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Because they always say forgiveness is never for the other person. Forgiveness is for us. And some
Yes.
things you just gotta let go, right?
You have to because with our bodies can't tell if you're hyped up because you're excited or
Right.
you're hyped up because you're angry. Your body is just gonna feel like, oh my gosh, we got to attack, and then that's when it goes bad for me. Like I know sometimes my son's a teenager, so we're going back and forth all the time because he knows more than me.
Right, of course.
And sometimes I'll be like, I'm overstimulated. I gotta lay down. I gotta shut him off. Like whatever he's got going on, I can't participate in it like at all. Because when it gets me going, I get going. And then if I had plans to do things, my emotions can wipe me out. So
Yeah.
I just try to,
Keep all
mm-mm,
that in check.
yes.
Yeah.
I have to tell him like not today. I can't do you today.
Yeah.
Like the drama, that's my main. That's the only really drama that I have because I'm raising a teenager. That's it. But my
I mean,
body, when
that's
it
enough.
receives it,
That's enough drama for your life.
yes,
Because that age is difficult.
very. We had our women's empowerment meeting at church on Saturday, and we were going around the room. We were sharing things. I'm like, Pastor, I'm at this house fighting for my life daily with this boy. I need all the prayers that I can get from y'all. Pray for him. Pray for me. Pray
Right.
that I don't be choking him. Just pray for us.
I know. I was telling my husband, my son is 20, he'll be 28. Um, and it was like stages. Okay, look, can we just get through high school? Can we just get through college? Can we just get a job? Can we just do these little things? But
Yes,
that whole age is just so difficult to deal with.
yes. I thought that when he was a baby, that was hard because they get sick, they can't talk, they just crying and all this kind of stuff. I would take that 3 times over versus
Yeah.
this stage right now.
Yeah, because you can
Mm-mm.
console a baby. Sooner or later, you'll be able to console a baby. But when they have
Mm-mm.
their own mind and their own thoughts, it's become a whole difficult task because they have their own view of things at that point.
Everything.
Yeah. So Kimberly wants to know what's the We Don't Care Club. I know what you're talking about, but why don't
Yeah,
you explain it?
the We Don't Care Club is a lady that is perimenopause and menopause. She's talking about the things that we do not care about. She said, we do not care if we put on a sports bra and it's too tiny. We're just going to get creamer for our coffee. We do
Right.
not care if you don't like it. Or if she said, we do not care if we have a 10 hair or two hanging off our face. We just came to the grocery to
Right.
feed the family. We don't care. It's just the things that we were so like our generation was so you must care about having your legs shaved, having your hair a certain way, being
Yeah.
in public dressed a certain way.
Yeah. I
We're
love
too hot, we're tired,
it. Right.
and we just don't care.
I can't even remember what if I have on a bra. You know what I mean? We don't care. So look it up on TikTok
Yeah, it's on TikTok and it's on Threads. But
because she is hilarious.
she's funny. She has a meeting, she has her notebook, and she says, we do not care. We do not care if you canceling us. We did not want to come anyways.
Right.
We do not care.
I love it. She's hilarious. And she
I
says
felt that
everything that
one.
we want to say too.
Yes, I felt
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely. I love it. I've had such a joyous time talking to you. You just such a sweet spirit. I so appreciate you coming on. If you could
Thank
leave
you.
us with one thing, if it's a quote or a Bible verse that your favorite Bible verse, what would it be?
My favorite Bible verse is Isaiah 53:5. And actually, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but I have a lupus ribbon, and in my ribbon it says fierce, and it has the butterfly, and it has that verse. By
Okay.
his stripes we are healed. Jesus got on that cross and took that beating for our sins. And if you don't get healed on this side, you got to know that there's healing coming on the other side when you get your new body.
Mm, I love it. I love it. Thank you for that. I think I needed to hear that today. I think I needed to hear that today. Thank you so much. I so
Thank you.
appreciate you coming on and sharing your story, sharing a laugh, sharing your smile and your sweet, sweet spirit. I so appreciate it. We about to go and rub some ankles and just relax for the rest of the night.
Yes.
So
Bras off, we're done.
thank you so much for being brave enough to come on and share your story and share, the nuggets that you have shared with us, because you did share some very good nuggets, and I'm sure somebody is going to glean something from what you said tonight.
No problem.
Not a problem. Thank you so much. I love you, girl. I hope to speak to you again soon.
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, everybody who tuned in. If you did not see the whole show, I'm gonna tell you, is rewind still a thing? Rewind it. Rewind it and going back to the beginning so that you can see and hear what Erica has said. She was such a sweet spirit, and her story is so compelling. So make sure that you share this video and tell somebody about In the Loop Lupus Live, where we are talking to lupus warriors every single day. We've been doing it almost every single day for Lupus Awareness Month, so that you can hear their stories and see their tests turn into testimonies. So thank you for always tuning in to In the Loop Lupus Live. I so appreciate every one of you. You guys have a great Friday and have a great weekend. Talk to you later. Bye.